Hello, students in Northport High School. My name is James. Um, it is Recovery Awareness and Prevention Week, and I'm here to share my story of recovery. Let's get into it. I am a, I was a student, Northport High School. I graduated in 2012. Um, I'm just gonna run it back and start from when I was a kid, and I think that a lot of problems that I had started from when I was younger. I had a pretty good childhood. Nothing is perfect, you know. My mom and dad got divorced when I was 9. My dad took off and didn't really tell us where he was going, and you know, it was me, my mom, and my brother for a little while, for probably about 14 years. But at home life was great. My mom did the best she could. In school I had friends, um, and I think that they were the best friends I possibly could have had. I was a little rambunctious. I got good grades, but as I got older, I wanted to fit in with the kids that you know were exciting, that did like cool stuff. So I kind of gravitated towards people that you know were not maybe the best for me, but they were good. They were good people. They were good kids. We had a good time. Um, I was always into skateboarding. I was a skater like most of my life, and you know we did stuff. We would like go out and like play ding dong ditch and like prank each other or whatever, and like do a bunch of crazy stuff, and a lot of like reckless behavior like came with that. And that's just kind of what we did for fun, and egg people's houses and like throw fireworks. And we didn't really think it was that big of a deal. It was a good time, when I was young. When I turned about 12, 13, I started smoking weed. um with these kids, and it was fun. There's no real big deal about it. When you're a young kid, you always hear like, you know say no to drugs, and you got like the dare program with the weird tiger on it and stuff. And I had to sign this like poster that I promised I would never do drugs. And I smoked weed for the first time, and like thought about all that stuff and thought about how funny it was, because I never thought I would do drugs always were like for bad people and like criminals and all that stuff. And here I was smoking weed. And I you know I kind of felt guilty about it, but I didn't. And I told myself, it was I'm only going to do it a little bit. I'm only going to do it once in a while. And I did do it once in a while. And then when I turned 14, went into high school. That summer before ninth grade, I started doing, I started smoking weed every day. I'd wake up, you know me and my buddies would like ask our parents for like $5 so we can get like Wendy's. And we would call the guy with the weed or whatever, and we'd wait for like hours for him to drop it off. And you know it was a good time. That was a great time for us. We get super stoned, and no big deal, right? I started smoking cigarettes and smoking weed, and gradually I started drinking. And as I got into high school and all that stuff, and it started to get progressively, we'd party on the weekends. We'd have the bangers, the open houses and stuff. People's parents would go away, we'd go in and like trash the place, like, you know it was a good time. That's what kids did, right? Like, I was in high school, we're gonna party. I totally didn't care about really what I did, uh, as far as my grades went. um Somehow I just got by, and started getting in trouble. I was suspended for probably 2 full years out of my 4 years at Northport. And most of my sophomore year I was suspended, and I was in Laurel. And then most of my junior year I was too, and I almost got expelled because of how many times had gotten in trouble, and for the amount of time I was in trouble. I got in trouble because I had weed on me and stuff, and that wasn't fun. But that wasn't a big deal. I was like, oh, it's just what happens when you know when you do what I did. Just I got caught up. Everyone's looking at me like I'm the bad guy, and but that's what happens. Poor me. You um, Graduated 2012, and from there on, I really had no plan. Figured I was getting into I had no money. So prior, I was, getting people drugs for free. I was getting people drugs. I was, I don't want to say a drug dealer because it was just weed. So I was a weed dealer, but I was getting people weed and smoking weed for free, and the money that I would make, I would go to drinking and partying, and I'd save up some money, and you know, that's what I had done. When I graduated, it was full time weed dealing. It was thought I was the man. I was really getting busy and hustling hard, and eventually, the party kind of ended, and you know, I get arrested. I got a DUI, and I get harassed by cops, semi regularly, and it became what once was a lot of fun and like what I had done, for fun and did in my free time, and surrounded myself with the people that did the same things that I did. It became more like trouble than it was worth. It was all about, you know, using people to get money. It was about getting high. It was about getting drunk every night. Eventually, like I said, I got a DWI. Eventually, I got into harder drugs. Started popping Xanax and you know, sniffing Roxy's and opiates. It it got rough. And for a couple of years from 2012, 2013 to 2016, I was just partying. Like, the years would pass and I would have done nothing with my life. I ended up having to I went to college because to live in my house, I had to do something, so I had just said, whatever, I'll go to BOCES. I went to BOCES and slept the entire 14 months of my program. I did car care. I didn't have any interest in doing anything with cars. No, it was automotive technology. I had no interest. And so I ended up literally sleeping on my desk for 14 months and owing them, you know, a large sum of money that I had no intent on paying back because I didn't want to do it anyway. So I just had dug myself into like debt and, you know, emotionally I was like not well. I had been doing drugs since I was 13, 14 years old, on a daily basis. And I didn't really know how to function. I had just passed high school, barely. I don't know how. It's really mostly a blur. I went to high school, I went to school to just like chill and hang out with my boys and like talk about getting high or come to school high or like sell drugs in the bathroom or something. And that was like kind of my day to day. I had no ambition or drive to like do better. I thought that I had everything figured out. Um, and I was going to sell weed for the rest of my life and go to California and start growing it and get a dispensary and just like get a bunch of money to, I had my plan. I was smarter than everybody because I was 18, I had it all figured out. And, like I said, college was not an option. So I was just living day to day, um, getting high and partying and doing whatever I wanted to do and thought that that was legit. Emotionally, I don't know where I was. They say when you start doing drugs, you stay the same age. So I did drugs at 14 years old. I was now 18. I was a 14-year-old in an 18-year-old's body, so I didn't know what to do. So I kept doing drugs and I got arrested once. I got arrested twice for assault. Years later, I went through probation for my DWI, got off, um, settled down a little bit because I was getting drug tested every week and stuff, and get off probation, just start partying hard. Um, I had been with this girl and I had broken up with her because I was getting bored and stuff, and she ended up seeing somebody else like right after, so I was like destroyed. And I said I went real hard. So started doing more drugs, going out to bars. I was 21 at this point. Started getting into bar fights almost every weekend with my boys and getting in some real like sticky situations. Uh, you know, like I said, eventually ended up getting arrested for a bar fight, being involved in a bar fight, and someone's face got broken pretty bad, and it was a bunch of us against another group of guys. And at that point, I said to myself, "Wow, I really have a problem." I'm 20, I'm 22 years old now. Um, I'm getting into bar fights. I'm doing nothing with my life. I need help, so for the first time in my life I really wanted to get clean and sober, and like had realized that like what I was doing when I was 14 to 22 like wasn't really something that was going to work for me for the rest of my life. um and I had had a couple friends before me that were, you know, big into shooting dope and smoking crack and doing all the hard drugs, super hard drugs, and they had gotten sober. And I said to myself, well, if these guys can get sober, like maybe I can do the same thing, and I ended up getting some help. I ended up reaching out to people that I knew were clean and connected with like programs that, because I didn't want to do any of that stuff. I didn't want to go to like AA or outpatient or get help because I thought it was like cheesy. I thought it was stupid. I really didn't, want to really change my life, but I wanted to change my life. I didn't want to do drugs, but you know, I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to look weird. I didn't want to be, cringy. I didn't want to, you know, I didn't know what I wanted really. I didn't know what to do, but I said I had had enough. Finally, after years and years of knowing and not having a good time, that enough was enough. I actually had said something to somebody, and I got the help that I needed, and today, like I kind of do. I have a completely different life. You know what I mean? Like I'm just chilling. I'm just cruising. Um, I was somebody who never had a job. I always was hustling. I always was selling weed. Um, I didn't, like I said, I didn't know any better. I didn't know how to be an actual human being. Um, I was confused largely most of my life, and now I'm not confused. I have 4 years sober. I got sober in 2016. I was 22 years old, 26 now. And in those 4 years, my life has become just completely different. There's good and bad, mostly good. It's not cringy like I thought it was going to be. It's not weird. It's not like awkward. It's not like I don't know what to do with myself. It's not like I'm bored. I had mentioned, when I was a kid, I skated. I was a skateboarder. I love skateboarding, man. Like that's how I lived. That's what woke me up every day. And when I started getting high and doing drugs, I couldn't skate high, so I picked getting high because I couldn't skate. It wasn't like, oh man, like I can't do what I love. Maybe I should stop. No, I was like, I'd rather get high. Getting high is cool. I laugh. I have a good, I'm chilling. Like it's dope. Like, but looking back now, I'm like, yo, like it took a lot away from me. Me and my family now have a better relationship. We communicate with each other. And me and my mom, all we used to do to talk to each other was just yell at each other. Now I come home and we have a good relationship. And I have a job today. I try to help people. My job is to help people get clean and sober and recover. And it's a great gift that I have been able to get from, just not constantly chasing getting high and getting drunk every day. You know, um, like I said, I could skateboard again. You know what I mean? I'm better at skateboarding than I ever was, which to me is a big deal. Because as I'm getting older, I'm thinking, oh man, I'm 26. I'm an old man. I'm getting, my back starting to hurt because I've been working. I'm sober now. I've had like a couple of jobs. I've been doing construction, plumbing, HVAC. Uh, you know, I've been working, and I'm like, man, I'm getting old. I'm gonna die. It's like I'm thinking that this is the end. I'm 26, but like in reality, like my life is just beginning. I'm back in school. Um, I'm trying to become a nurse and eventually, a nurse practitioner. And really, I have a goal. Was what I'm trying to get at. I never had that before. I never had a plan. Never had a 5-year plan. And that, never mind a 1-month plan. And now today I can commit to life. And I'm showing up for life. Whereas before, all I wanted to show up for was the party. And sounds corny, but that's exactly what it was. So I mean, I can't say enough how many good things have come out of me just asking for help and being willing to take advice and listen to other people when they're really sincerely offering me advice and direction, because like I said, I was directionless and I had nowhere to go. And, you know, life is good today. And I just want to thank everybody for listening. Thank you.